Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Throwback Thursday. This is a little weekly series where I dig back into my stash of older products or designs and we make something fresh and new together. Today I'm feeling beachy, so I'm going to dig into Stamperia's Sea Land collection. This came out quite a few years ago, but they've just recently re-released it. I still have lots of the original papers in my stash because I absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, you can see why. It's just a perfect little beach collection. So I thought we would use this today to build sort of a mini folio. Sometimes you want to do a big folio, sometimes you just want to do a little folio. Today I'm in the mood to do a little folio, and I might combine these papers with a few papers from Stamperia Mechanical Sea World. I bought this thinking I love the colors, but it's a little too edgy for me. However, a lot of these papers will make great backgrounds. So I'm going to pull this out and we'll see where we go with all of this. Like, I love the backgrounds of these little tags, things like that. So that's what we're going to do. And hold on. Oh yeah, and then also when they re-released Sea Land, they also released chipboards to go with it, which are quite nice. Just a few, lots of titles, seahorses, shells, ships and bottles, all that sort of thing. Great titles. And then they released die-cut ephemera, and these are really gorgeous. And again, they have that sort of mica finish on them. And so they've been treated with mica. So I also have those to play with. So let me make some room on my desk. I'll be right back and we will get started with this. So what are we making? How about this really neat mixed media 7.5 by 5.5 inch folio? This has chipboard covers and all this wonderful collage assemblage art. We've got a little shaker window. We have a little bottle with sand and shark's teeth, a sand dollar. This is just a wonderful like rocky cliff that our lighthouse is situated on. A little bit of burlap string to add texture. This netting closure. We have charms on the side, and on the back we have this little tag and this seashell. On the inside, this is a really fun, not hard to make. And again, I will post the basic measurements and score lines in the description box below this video. So this opens out like this. And on the right and on the left, you have this little pocket, these little pocket pages. I've put tags in here, and I've used pearls from the chipboard as pull tabs. Then I created a couple of really cute little folios to tuck inside. So lots of room for photos in this because summer's coming and beach photos are the best. Seagulls, and again, these papers, these blues are just dreamy. So these go in here. I think I did it like this so that I had a blue and a brown one. Then these both flip out. Over here, we've got a little flip-flap page with lots of room for photos and journaling. Then we have a pocket with an insert and a beautiful scene inside with a little journaling spot and room for a large photo on the back. And of course, you could also put photos in the pocket. Then we have a lateral waterfall with room for really nice size photos and quite a few of them, which is lovely. And even more photos back here. Then over here, we've got a little pull-out pocket with this insert with room for even more photos. So I tried to balance both collage art and photos with this. Then this flips open. This is a little tuck spot, and this is room. This is open here, so you can get a photo in here as well. So if you would like to learn how to build this little folio base, Stick around and I will show you in the tutorial that's coming up next. Remember a few weeks ago I showed you how to create a mixed media background with spellbinders, 3D embossing folders, and inks? Well, I have an extra panel of that left, and I matted this. This panel is 6 7/8 by 4 7/8, I believe. Let me make sure. Yes. And I matted it on a slightly larger piece of kraft cardstock and stitched it up on my sewing machine to create the background for today's cover on our card. And I will, if you look up in the corner, I will have linked to where this original mixed media tutorial is. So you can go watch that and then you can learn how to make this. So I went into my stash of the wonderful chipboards and such, and I created a shaker frame with one of the oval frames. And I painted the edges of a lot of these little embellishments with paint. I used a combination of white and then a sepia, and I mixed them together and brushed it on there. And we're going to create a little scene on our card to start with. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and get this shaker element put in place. And around my frame, I just traced around it and put 3 layers of 1/8 inch foam tape on the back. And I'm going to put a little adhesive on this as well, just to make sure that it really sticks. And then on the paper, on our panel, I've put down some of these buttons and galore, shells and sand, beads, and shaker elements. So this is going to go right here, and I want it to be, I'm going to push this down a little bit. I want it to incorporate some of the embossing. So this is going to go right here, and I'm just going to press this in place like that. And here's our little seahorse, and I've put foam tape on the back of him so that he will also be level with the frame. And I added a little hot glue to hold him in place. And he's just going to sit right there. Then this is a little feather I picked up from the beach. I'm going to figure out where to put that in at some point. Right now, I'm not sure. I'm just making sure my shaker frame is firmly in place. Then down here at the bottom, I took this title piece, and I want this right in the center. And I've got double layers of foam on the back of it. And that's going to go right here. And then our lighthouse, I have a triple layer of foam on that. I'm going to add some hot glue. And this is going to go like this. All right. Around the base, here's a neat piece that got picked up on a walk. It's just a twig with some stuff growing on it. I'm not sure what the stuff is, but it's really neat. So I'm going to glue this down at the base of my lighthouse. And I'm going to come in behind it and add some adhesive too, just to make sure that this stays where it's supposed to stay. Shift this a little bit away from our letters. And then I have all these little shells. I want them to look like they got trapped in seaweed around the base of our lighthouse. So we're kind of just telling a story. We're setting a stage here, which is always fun to do for me. And you never know, I might tuck some real shells in with this because that makes it feel that much more like a real beach project. And I'm going to take a couple of these and put them over here on the left-hand side of our paper as well. There we go. All right. And then let's take this feather. This is just a feather that I picked up on the beach. Put this back behind. There we go, like that. Okay. Okay, I lifted my seahorse off of my frame because I want to take this hemp twine and I want to wrap it around because I think it's going to give it a really cool texture and just kind of anchor it. So what I've done is I've just put a blob of my hot glue there, and I'm going to wrap around this 2 or 3 times. Yeah, that looks really good. Do you see how that like kind of anchored it and it gave it this great texture? So now I'm going to come up here, put another little blob right there, and I'm going to secure this at the top. And I really like just that little tiny touch right there. Really gave that a great sort of organic feel. And now I'm going to bring my poor little seahorse in. He's been traumatized, but he's going to be all right. And I'm going to put him right back where he was. And nobody but you and me will know that we did that. Okay. So there we go. I just like that so much better. And then I'll probably tie a knot or something at the top. But as you can tell, I'm just kind of creating as I go this morning. This is one of my watch the process, create along with me videos, I guess, because I have a vision, but I don't have a plan. So let's take some cute shells. And put them in with our seaweed here. Oh yeah, I like that. Here's a shark's tooth, pretty good one too. Let's put him in. We find all of these along our North Carolina coastline. It's one of our favorite things to do, is to walk along the beach and go shelling and look for treasures. You just never know what you're going to find. Sometimes you go out and you find absolutely nothing. And other times you go out and it's like a treasure trove. So you just never know which way it's going to go, but it's always fun. All right, tuck that little shell right in there. So we've created kind of a rocky island for our lighthouse. And I'm pretty pleased with the way this looks. I'm not sure I want to do a whole lot more. Maybe just one of these really pretty jingle shells right here. All right. And let's take, because we're going to set this aside, and let's take some of our glue, our dries clear adhesive, and let's put it around these shells here, and even up in between them a little bit. So this is how I work, guys. I wish I was one of those creators that had a sketch, but I don't do that. I have a vision of what I want to do, but I never have a plan. It's just the way my brain works. It's just how I create. And the same way when I cook. I might know that we're having chicken, but you never know how that chicken is going to show up when it's finished. All right, so there we go. There's that. Tap that off. And this will dry and it will look really neat. It adds just that great little textural finish there. And I think we're good with this. I might add like a nautical knot or something up at the top of that frame. But pretty much I'm happy with the way this looks. So I'm going to clean up this. Looks like I've been at the beach. It's a little messy. I'm going to clean this up and we'll come back and we'll start building the folio base. All right, let's put this folio base together. I have two 11 by 5.5 inch pieces of kraft cardstock, and this is probably, it's probably only 65 pound. It might be as much as 80, but it's sturdy, so I think it's going to work. And I put 1/4 inch Scor-Tape on one end. Move that so it's a little more straight. That was a little crookedy. All right, so we have this. I'm going to bring in my scoring tool. And I'm going to score at 7.5. I'm going to go ahead and score it 8.5. And I'm going to fold on this 8.5 inch line, and I'm going to score at 7.5. I'm going to flip this and make it so the bump is on the side I'm folding into. You always want to fold into your bump. All right. All right. Then I have these 8.5 by 5.5 inch pieces, and I'm going to score a 1/2 inch flap on the left-hand side of this one. I'm going to fold. Yeah, this is probably at least 80 pound paper. As I'm handling it, it feels more like 80 pound. And so now we're at 8. I'm going to score it at, let's say 5.5. I'm making this up as I go, y'all. And we'll see what this ends up being. This is kind of fun. I hope this doesn't drive you crazy. This is really, really, really how I craft. And I just never know what I'm going to end up with. It's kind of a fun little adventure. If you're looking for somebody who has everything all figured out, I'm probably not your channel. But if you want to discover the joy of creating, then you'll probably like hanging around here. All right, so here's our cover and spine. That's pretty cute. And then we've got this flap page here. Let's take this, let me see. Yeah, let's do a 1/2 inch flap on the right hand side of this one. And then again, let's see, this goes like this. Okay, I'm gonna line up with this mark for the page that's underneath. And let's see what this ends up being. Okay, this is just about 1 3/4. So let's do 1 3/4 here. Flip it. Actually, that's saying it's 2. So I don't know what the deal is, but anyway, this is going to fold back like 2. All right, and this is going to glue down right here. And I'll put these measurements in the description box below this video just for building the folio base. I'm not going to do a complete tutorial. So now we have a flip page here. Here's our back cover. That's kind of cool. I'm liking that. What do y'all think? So now I'm just going to make little pocket gussets to go here. These the pockets on the right are 2 inches high, so I did 1 inch by 1 7/8 inch and folded them in half. And then of course your fold goes against the outside edge. I always go a little shorter than the actual pocket because that gives you the gap that you need for the paper to be able to fold. If you go all the way down here to the bottom, you're going to have a hard time folding. And the reason we do gussets is it gives us the full width of our paper, our pocket. Okay, so this is going to go like this on this side and over here, because this was, let me see, this pocket was 2.5. I went 2 3/8 and 1 inch wide and scored in half. All right. Okay. Oops. All right, so this page flips out like this. This is a double flip, which is kind of fun. And I think that's all we need inside for this. I think we're good. So let me cut some liners and I'll be right back. I want to create a wrapped cover to give this little album more stability. You can see I've already done the back. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to take chipboard, and this piece is this is 7 3/8 by 5 3/8, and then I cut my piece of paper eight 3/8 by 6 3/8, and this is from that Mechanicals. I like the board. So put this face down, and if you've never done this before, we're just going to create this wrapped panel for the cover. It has a really nice finished look, and I'm putting my adhesive on my chipboard, and we're going to center this on my page. All right, and just burnish that down to spread out that liquid glue so you get really good coverage on the other side. And then I'm coming in with my bone folder, and I'm just creasing around the sides with my bone folder to encourage that paper to crease and not crack. Okay, now I'm going to fold it. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder to help it go the way I want it to go. It's just going to crease that down. And we're just going to fold this in on all 4 sides. And if you were making a mini album cover, you would do the same step, the same thing to make your cover. And then you would line the inside, but we're not going to line the inside because this is going to glue to the cover of our album. Okay. I'm going to come in with my scissors, and you want to cut about, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch below where those papers meet. If you go in too close, you're going to leave a gap, and if you go out too far, it's going to make like this little nub. But usually about 1/16 of an inch out makes it just right. So we're going to go in with our long side, and we're just going to fold this and use our bone folder and press it down. Bring this in. See how nice and neat that corner is? That's what you want. And you won't believe how much stability. I mean, this just takes that cover up to the next level. It makes it very secure, very strong. All right. So here's my front cover. I'm going to lay it flat. And you can see I did the same thing here with my spine. The spine, you want to go 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4 inches. And right side up is always good. And then just center this up on the front. Bring in that bone folder. See how handsome that is? And it just makes it feel like a real book. So it's not flimsy. All right, and we won't put our other panel on there quite yet. But see, now we look like this. And I also did one on the inside spine. This one is 5/8 of an inch by the 5 1/4 on the inside. So there's that. Now I'm going to do the inside pages, and if there's a special mechanism or something like that, I will pop in real quick and show you how to do that. But mostly I just wanted to show you how to build this really cool base, and then I'll share with you how I decorate it, okay? All right, I have been working all day on this. I had to take a break to go get my hair cut, but I love the way this turned out. So before we put our ribbon closure and our cover on, let's take a little walk through. All of the measurements for the basic liners and all of that will be in the description box below this video. This is not a complete step-by-step tutorial. It would take me a week to do that, but this is to give you the basics. So here's our first little pocket that we built, and inside I put a couple of these little tags, and I've taken the pearl chipboards to use as little pull tabs. This is a little 5 by, I think this was 5 by 5. Yes, 5 by 10, scored it in half at 5. And this is just a little folio, a little mini folio that goes in this pocket. So you can put photos in there, which is really fun. I mean, summertime is coming, believe it or not, even though it's cold here in North Carolina, and you'll want a place to put those beach photos. So we're going to use this little turn tab to flip this open, and then I have a little flap page. And I just did this. I took 2 of the horizontal images and scored flaps and put them behind the base page. So that's pretty simple. Then, okay, so this is the inside front cover, right? Here's a pocket. So here is an insert. This one is, I believe, 7 inches wide, and I went 10.5 inches, scored in half at 5.5 to get this beautiful lighthouse scene. Did a little pocket down here because I cut off part of the sentiment, and so I just did this little simple U pocket here, and then I think this must be from, I don't know, maybe it's a tag. Anyway, I put it in the pocket because I think it looks really cute there. And that gives you a place on the back to do some journaling. So not a lot of photo room here, except you could on the back. And of course you can put photos in the pocket and journaling here on the front, or small photos. You could do that too. So this goes in here. That opening likes to get caught. There we go. All right. And I just dressed this up with some more of the adhesive ephemera. Here's our pocket on the opposite side. Same thing, except this pocket, remember, is deeper than the pocket on the left. So this is 5 by 5.25, which ends up being, I'm sorry, this is 5 by 11, and I scored at 5.5. So your liners end up being longer too. But there's that. And then these go in here. And then this page flips open, and here's our lateral waterfall. And I made this little magnetic closure for it. This is one of the long tags from the paper collection, and I just dressed up the front with some chipboard and this little ephemera piece, and I've added seashells as turn tabs here. So each of these is 5 3/4 by 5 1/4. Of course, you score 1/2 inch. Lots of room for photos here, which is so fun. And then when you get to the back page, I covered up, you can see this is where I put the bookmark. I forgot to put it behind the back panel, so I had to improvise, and I put another little piece to cover it here. But when you do this, before you glue this base page down with the blue board paper, put your bookmark back behind there, and then you'll just score where it meets the edge of the paper, and that will work for you. Then this page, this is a hidden pocket, and I just cut it 1 inch wider and 1/2 inch taller than I wanted it to be. This is a little scrap of blue paper. I used a circle die to cut out this little opening, and then our little insert is just a scrap. This was 4 3/4 by 10.5, and I just scored it in half at 5 1/4, dressed it up with some chipboard. So you've got lots of room in here for photos. And this can either go in like this, or so you can see the hot air balloons, or you can do it like I had it, where the back half goes in the pocket and the other half hangs out. Then this opens out, and this is the last 2 pages. You just line this with some of your beachy paper. Over here, I fussy cut out this cluster from the 12 by 12, glued just like this along the edges to create this little tuck spot, and then this little tag goes in there, so that's kind of fun. And over here I wanted to leave room for photos, so this is only glued on the top, and this is another one of those adhesive ephemera pieces. So that is the folio. I love the way it turned out. I think it's really beautiful. It's a lot of fun to open it and find all that stuff in there. So now we're going to make our closure, and this is netting from Really Reasonable Ribbon. I think you can also get this at May Arts. I believe it is a May Arts product. And I'm going to come here on my front, and I'm going to put adhesive here. And here. I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to bring out enough of this to tie a bow and then glue this down. I'm going to wrap it around like this. Oops, my tags are falling out here because I'm jostling this around. I'm going to come to the back, and I'm just going to put one piece of Scor-Tape right in the center, and then we can cover that up with a little tag or an ephemera piece or something like that, but it will hold it in place. All right, then we're just going to tie our bow. And I like this because it kind of makes me think of fish netting. So I like this particular ribbon for this closure. And I can see I'm a little long, but I would rather be long than short, because long you can trim and short you can't do anything about. Short, you're stuck. So I oftentimes will cut it longer than I think I'm really going to need it. And then you can come back and trim. Isn't that fun? I love the texture that this, oops, I went the wrong way. I went the right way. All right. I love the texture that this ribbon adds. All right. So we've got this part done. Let's find something to go on the back. Yeah, I like that. So let's put that down. That looks pretty neat. All right, let's just stick this down here. Let's put the word journey on the bottom. Just like that. And you can see how nice these wrapped covers look. It's really pretty. All right, so now, big finish, we can bring this piece in, and this is going to sit over this, and it just looks fantastic. So let's go ahead and glue this down. I did add a couple of little things, like a glass bottle with sand and shark's teeth. Dale, my husband, was sweet enough to give me a couple of his shark's teeth that he's found on the beach. I just felt like they were too perfect not to go in that little bottle. All right. And I added this little sand dollar, this little bottle, a little bit of string down here, just little things to kind of finish it out. I can bring in my bone folder and just make sure this is good and secure. But doesn't this look great, guys? I'm tickled. I love this one. My daughter's going to want to steal this one. She's a beach lover. But I'm going to go ahead and list it in my Etsy shop. I can always make her another one. So I'm just pressing this down, making sure everything is good and secure. Sometimes when you stitch, the stitches take a minute to adhere. So I just keep going over this, make sure. All right, guys. So that's it. That is our Throwback Thursday for this week with Stamperia Sea Land and this leftover embossed piece. Again, I will link to that tutorial showing you how to do the mixed media piece in the description box, and I'll also put a little caption box up in the top right-hand corner of this video. I will put the link to my blog where you can find a supply list, a linked supply list that will help you shop. And it also helps me out too. I get a very, I mean, it's like pennies, stipend every time you click on one of those links and buy. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me pay for my website and my blog, so I can keep bringing you these free tutorials. All right, guys. Beachy. So good. Thanks for joining me. Please give this a like if you haven't subscribed. I'd love to have you along for the journey. And go get your craft on. Bye.